imagination, and the will. It starts with leadership. We couldn't be prouder to be partnering with M300 and all of the partners in this room who are doing the work you are doing, and the world needs this more than ever. So thank you.
Please welcome back Bloomberg Television's Chief Africa Correspondent, Jennifer Zabazaja.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline, for those powerful words and for the work that you are doing. And as we've been hearing over the past hour or so, we do know that Mission 300 is already changing the calculus for businesses, for private investment, and also for development institutions. Now we get to dig into more of the business perspective and private sector investment. And we'll dig into that with a few of the leaders coming on to the stage just now. But I do want to first take a minute and acknowledge that the Republic of Gambia is also one of the countries that are committing to an energy compact today. And we have the Honorable Minister Keita here today. Please give him a round of applause. Thank you so much, Minister. Thank you so much for being here with us. Now, let's talk about the private sector investment a bit more, and please join me. I'm having you do a lot of work today, I'm sorry. Welcoming to the stage three business leaders. We have Manoj Sinha, CEO and co-founder of Husk Power Systems. Hi, Manoj, thanks for joining me. We have Terje Pilskog, CEO of Scatec. And finally, Edu Okeka, Managing Director of Azura Power West Africa. Thank you so much for joining us. So now we get to dig into more of the private sector participation, which obviously you three have very much experience doing so. Maybe you can just start first and give us a sense from the vantage point that you sit at. When we think about M300, the potential and the opportunity for the continent, what do you see, and maybe you can speak from your own businesses, what do you see as being the most transformative, maybe in the near term first, and then we can get long term? Manoj?
Thank you very much. So Mission 300 has created these energy compacts for many countries. We are particularly present in Nigeria. That has actually reduced the risk of entering a country for electrifying hundreds of millions of people. We are in Nigeria, the largest market of unelectrified and under-electrified people of almost 200 million people, with 90 million not electrified. Mission 300 has really created an energy policy that is very predictable and easy to see what risks you are going to get exposed to or not. That is further assisted by the likes of AFTB and other partners that are unlocking local currency that is absolutely needed to scale to electrify the next 100 million people in Nigeria market, to be more specific. And third is other agencies where you might take 2 years to do a project is now happening in less than 3 to 6 months. For example, we recently got a 30 megawatt worth of project sanctioned in less than 3 months of work. So Mission 300 is really accelerating the process of electrifying hundreds of millions of people across sub-Saharan Africa. And I'm so excited that 29 countries have signed up the compact. And our ambition was, used to be 100 megawatt of renewables in Nigeria market, that we have just upped our ambition to 1 gigawatt in the whole sub-Saharan Africa because of energy compact, because of the acceleration that Mission 300 is providing. All we need right now is a lot of capital, billions of dollars, to invest in Africa so that we can deliver on 1 gigawatt promise and in that process create a lot of jobs.
Was that a hint there? I think you're doing a hint. Terje, speak about it from your perspective, if you can.
Yeah, thank you very much. So Scatec is a company that is focused and devoted to accelerating the deployment of renewable energy, mainly through larger scale utilities and larger scale projects. And our mission is really improving our future. And in Africa currently today, we have about 3 gigawatts already installed, and we have a couple of more gigawatts under development and ready to be constructed. And this is about improving the future in terms of the climate, but it's also about improving the future in terms of providing affordable, sustainable, and secure electricity in the countries where we operate. But it's also about working closely together with the countries and with the communities enabling economic development, enabling employment, and in general, enabling development in the communities where we work. We are extremely passionate about Mission 300 because first of all, it creates a lot of attention and urgency around the matter. And this is a significant thing in itself, right? So when you have the World Bank, you have AFDB, you have Rockefeller Foundation, and all the three are putting this on top of the agenda, then obviously that creates a lot of activity around the topic. And then it is the clarity around the energy compacts that the countries are putting in place. Today we are, for instance, working in Botswana, in Cameroon, in Guinea, in Sao Tome, in Sierra Leone, and all of those countries today signed the energy compact. So that gives us a roadmap, a clarity in terms of what we're trying to do, and that's incredibly helpful for us. And then I think finally, the things that are being put in place, they will mobilize private capital. They will mobilize capital in general in terms of supporting the initiatives here.
Thanks.
So those are some of the things from our side that is exciting.
Thank you so much. Edu?
Yeah, thank you very much. And for us at Azura, we've looked at the energy space, and I like what they are doing. But for us, we want to focus more. If I think of what AJ Banga said in terms of the productive also, which is power on the grid. It's not just off-grid power. You know, we understand there are some areas that are hard to serve, where off-grid is really going to serve. But what you see in Africa, and when you think of Nigeria, which is a core country, is that many people who are connected to the grid are underserved. So it's also how do we get to improve service to those people? And when we think of the energy compact, for us, we currently operate about 752 megawatts across 3 countries, Nigeria, Senegal, and Mozambique. And we have about 1,300 under development. When you look at what Energy Compact has done in these countries, it's simply that government, they've kind of looked and said, how do we distinguish between off-grid and on-grid? What are regulatory reforms that need to be carried out so that we know what to focus on? You know, quite unlike before, it's kind of modeled in terms of put money here, put money there. But now, like Nigeria's Energy Compact, we know what needs to be done on the grid side. Government is focused on it, what investment that needs to go into it. For example, the disco space in Nigeria, you know, they've understood that power on the grid, that there needs to be investment in the disco space, there needs to be investment in the transmission and not to talk of the generation that needs to come with it. And that's why we are now engaging with government. We do generate power today, but how do we also help them to make sure that disco space investment goes in there? You know, if investment goes in there, the people that are underserved, because you know, I would say this, it should be unheard of to start thinking of solar home system for somebody living in Lagos. Lagos should be on the grid, you know. So how do we make sure that every inhabitant of Lagos gets served? And that's what we're focused on right now.
Where do you see the challenges in terms of overcoming some of the barriers that you've had in the past and ensuring success in the implementation off-grid and on-grid?
I'll take Nigeria as an example again. And when you think of Nigeria, over the years, there are 3 addictions, I think, I will use that word, that Nigerians have. One is undercost foreign exchange, kind of cheap foreign exchange. Then the next one is cheap gasoline price, you know, and then cheap energy. I mean, when you think of electricity, the government has effectively tackled the first 2. They are now focused on the third one. Because just like the minister for Botswana said here, no private sector investor is going to invest based on subsidy. You know, tariff must be cost reflective, and that's what needs to happen. And that tariff being cost reflective, we now invite investors into the sector. Yes, of course, we know World Bank, FDB, they've supported a lot, they are doing quite a lot, but ultimately it's about making the market viable, making it to be, and that's what the government right now, that's what this compact, government has focused on it. How do we get tariff to be cost reflective? And that's the only thing that will now motivate private sector investment there. We are talking to them, and we've seen that there is plan towards that, and we are basically engaged and expecting that when everything aligns, that investment is going to be unlocked.
I saw you nodding there, Manoj. Do you agree with that? Speak about it from the perspective of a few different markets.
So we are rightly present in Nigeria, so I will have to speak about Nigeria. That's where we have the most experience. And so the challenges for us, people that are deploying decentralized energy resources assets, which in our opinion is the most capital efficient way to bring electricity that doesn't only provide lighting, but really unlocks the economic prosperity. And go back 3 years ago, yes, we had some subsidy program. We had a process at REA Nigeria that would do one clearance at a time. Things have rapidly evolved over the last 2 years. So the first thing is, the energy demand for these rural customers are not to be taken for granted. It has to be pushed through productive appliances and productive uses of electricity. AFDB and other partners came together to make it happen. It's a proactive measure to make it happen. The policy, which was not really present before, there is a future of energy that Nigeria drives that brings both grid electricity and isolated grid electricity, and there is a future where both of them can combine together or interact with each other. So there's no risk of deploying off-grid asset that will become defunct 10 years later. Nigeria is a top-notch example of having thought about future of energy and actually implemented it. Last but not the least, opening up local currency debt market. It is absolutely essential in the infrastructure segment to have low-cost, long-term local currency debt available. Nigeria has made it possible thanks to AFDB and other partners that are creating first loss guarantee and things of that nature to make it happen. So again, I would reemphasize it's only scale at speed that we are waiting for, and capital absolutely will help that process do it much faster than what we envisioned only 2 years ago.
Thanks so much. But it inevitably looks different depending on which market you're talking about. How do we ensure, are there things though potentially that are replicable consistent throughout each market? What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, initially you talked about challenges, and I think we are facing many of the same challenges across markets. I mean, it's about subsidies, the fact that sort of the energy and the power sector today is very much subsidized. That's obviously creating challenges in the domestic economies. It is FX risk. It is the fact that we have also weak counterparties in many of these markets. So I think so all of these things need to be addressed. But for me, I'm thinking about sort of where we are today. As we are trying to sort of bridge a process to get to a situation where we get into a much more robust situation. And there are two things that are going to get us there. I think one thing that we all experience across our companies is that there is a revolution in terms of renewable energy technology. And we can now start providing renewable energy, electricity at costs that are affordable in all African countries. So I think that's sort of one element, and I think it's important to have private capital, private players involved in all of these processes so that we can make sure that we bring the best technologies into these countries and make sure that we bring affordable and competitive solutions. And then in terms of Mission 300 and the collaboration with institutions like the World Bank and FDB and so on, it is important that we find solutions where we have efficient procurement processes, and that we have support that is helping us to bridge that gap from a situation today where the power sectors in Africa are underfunded and subsidized, and then using a bridge over to getting into a situation where we have a combination, a power mix in the countries that do not need subsidizations in the future. That's the bridge, that's the journey that I think that we are on, and everything that we do in this context should be the target of getting to an objective where we do no longer need subsidization in the power sectors in Africa, so that we are having a self-funded, cost-reflective tariffs, and the power sectors are sustainable. That's, I think, is the goal, and Mission 300 is an important vehicle in terms of sort of bringing us through that journey.
Terry, or Edu, I want to give you the last word. Terry was just saying this is a revolution. You characterize this potentially as a revolution. I wonder how you would characterize this current moment and potential, again, opportunity for the African energy market and those potentially looking to invest, entrepreneurs looking to also create. How would you characterize this moment?
Oh, I'll say the opportunity is huge. And what the compact has done for so many African countries, today you've seen 17 countries also come to, state their own. What is done is that it's refocused minds on what needs to be achieved and the time frame for that. So in the next 5 years or so, 300 million people will be connected. So as an entrepreneur, as an investor, it's now for you to go to any country where you're interested. You look at their compact, you look at their promises, and you now say, where do I fit in here? There are opportunities all over the space, and government alone cannot do it. The fund needed for that is enormous. World Bank will help, AFDB will help, but ultimately, this is to incentivize the private sector to come in. And that's what I see. That's what all of us see. All of us are now going through the compacts of each country and saying, where do we fit in and where do we invest in that space?
It's really an inspirational and historic moment, I think we can say. Please, everyone, join me in thanking our panelists, Manoj, Terry, and others. Thank you so much. Wow, well, hopefully you feel just as inspired as I do from the past few minutes and I think hour or so that we've had this afternoon, and just capping it off with our private sector leaders there that are needed to hit the 300 million mark, as we were talking about earlier with Ajay Banga. Well, that concludes our afternoon. Hopefully it was electrifying for you from start to finish. I know it was for me. Africa's Jobs Challenge is not just an energy challenge, and Mission 300 is an example of that, and hopefully a multiplier, as we can only hope. We did see the endorsement of the energy compacts from a number of ministers and a head of state there. We heard how Mission 300 is catalyzing private sector investment, unlocking real opportunities. We also heard from the African Development Bank, the World Bank, Mike Bloomberg of Bloomberg Philanthropies, and of course Bloomberg LP. And so we thank you so much for being with us for the past afternoon. Hopefully you feel inspired and you will go and share more information about what Mission 300 is doing, and also how we can all play a part in energizing Africa. This is the end from me. I'm Jennifer Zabasaja. Thanks so much from myself and from the Bloomberg Philanthropies Global Forum. Thanks.
For the news with the around, log into Liberty TV online. Positively we bring the change. They get the masses involved. Staffs them everywhere, everywhere. We climb the mountain just to get the news. We go down the slums to get the views. Hi, yeah, hey. Our voices go. Credibility, now we ability. News, give you the views, the tell where you want them. Government issues, democracy, now we not the answer. We human them, girl picking, there's a get the power. He count on me, he count on me anyhow. Give you the news, give you the views, the tell where you want them. Government issues, democracy, now we not the answer. Human them, girl begin the security power. You can call on me, count on me anyhow. Liberty we ride, like a nigga we fly. Liberty TV day before. Climb the mountain just to get the news.